Hi, my name is Kim Clemens, and this is my self-assessments video for EDOL 700 2.2. And so I'm going to be looking at the 5 assessments that I picked to look at my leadership qualities and skills. So the first one that I want to go over is my professional disposition self-assessment. And the area that I chose to look at was my communication, which I see as a weakness or as an area of growth that I need to work on. And so part of this is because growing up, I really did not have a role model that helped me to look at or to deal with communicating with others. And so basically all that was happening was that I would stifle my feelings and not communicate them with others. And so that leads me to my next point, which is sharing my feelings. And with sharing my feelings, I have a hard time communicating that with other people. And so I need to work on being able to let other people know how I feel and where I'm coming from in relationship to my personal life and in my career life. And then the other thing that I end up doing as a result is that I speak before I think. I end up getting so flustered or so passionate about something that I end up saying things that I need to make sure that I need to step back and reflect and think before I say what I need to say. And so it has caused me some uncomfortable situations where I've said the wrong thing and I need to backtrack and try to reiterate what I mean in a more politically correct way of saying it and not just coming off in a way that sounds inappropriate. So my plan for improvement is to be intentional with how I talk to other people. I need to make sure that it's appropriate and that I come across as a caring participant and that I am sincere in my conversations with them. And then I also want to look at journaling my feelings and looking at also how I can articulate how I feel. If I can't say how I feel personally, then there's a problem, and I need to do that before I can be able to articulate to other people. And then the last point is to be mindful. I need to make sure that I am watching what I say and how I say it to make sure that it comes across in the appropriate manner that it needs to come across. So that may mean that I need to take a second or two or a minute to look at how I want to say things the way I want to say it. So that way that it comes across more appropriate and is more productive. So with that, my next area that I want to look at assessment is my noble purpose. So in this assessment, my noble purpose is that I have a positive impact on my students' lives where I can make a difference in each one of their lives. So it's really important to me that I make sure that I can do all that I can to be a positive influence on them and to make sure that they grow as not only students but as citizens as well. And then my other personal goal or purpose is my noble purpose is to also create a legacy for my family that is built on my faith in God. I have 2 sons and they're both married, and I have 2 grandsons. And so I really want to be able to have a legacy where it is built on the foundation of our beliefs and our faiths. And I want that to come from me, and that we as a family are sustained and established in that belief. So my next area that I want to look at is 27 things I want to do before I die. And this is really cool because I want to travel. And so one of the places that I want to travel is Europe. I would love to be able to see the different areas and different cultures that happen and are a part of Europe. And so that is a dream of mine. And another area that I would love to go to is Kenya, Africa. And the reason why it's just Kenya is because there is a organization called Compassion International that deals with children and getting the medical help that they need to get better. And so I want to be able to photograph and video record those experiences for them. And so that's why I picked Kenya, Africa, is because I would really love to do that. And then that leads me to my next is that I would love to be able to photograph many different experiences and places of around the world. And so I love photography. I love taking pictures. And so being able to storytell that in photos is a dream of mine. And the last one is more of a career aspect or goal of mine, is to be a principal of my of a school. And I'm right now a teacher of 5th grade where I teach 26 students. And I really would love to be able to touch the lives of more than 26 students and be able to touch a whole school of those. Going on to my next assessment is my fantasy job. My fantasy job, which I wish I would have been able to do and thought of many years ago, was to be a photographer for professional sports. I just think that'd be so cool to be able to be on the sidelines and take pictures of what is happening in all the different sports. I'm a sports fanatic. I love football, basketball, baseball, soccer, and I really wish that I would have been able to be a photographer that just was on the sidelines capturing those moments of great memory. And so that is my fantasy job. Going on to the next is my values. Out of a bunch of characteristics that I had to look at, I captured the 5 most important values in my life. And the first one is respect. I feel that being respectful of others is really important. And that is where I really value that as a quality in myself. And I really put that on my students as well. Every morning, I make sure that I welcome them with a handshake and we say good morning. And at lunch, we make sure that we give a high five and we say, have a good lunch. And so this is really important that we are communicating with each other and are making sure that we have a manner of respectfulness for each other. My next area of values is my creativeness. I really have a passion for art and baking and crocheting and photography that I really want to make sure that that is a part of who I am. I am very artistic, and that shows up in how I teach as well, and coming up with different creative ways to teach the different standards that I need to teach. And so being creative is really important to who I am as a person. The next aspect, and is an important one for me and that I portray onto my students, is being a risk taker. I am someone who likes to, on a whim, go and travel somewhere and be able to go somewhere on a whim. And this also comes into play in my educational career as well. when I was going for my bachelor's and my master's, I was a single parent, and I did this all on my own, making sure that I took care of them, and also got my bachelor's and my master's degree. And the same thing is going for my doctoral degree. I'm by myself, and I'm doing this all on my own to make sure that it is a passion that I want to do, is to be someone who is able to convey my feelings and my goals to other people. The next one is caring. And so all my 26 students that I have in 5th grade, I care for them deeply. Even the ones that challenge me a little bit, I still care for them, and I want the best for them. And I do my best to make sure that I can do whatever I can to make sure that they grow and continue to prosper in their educational career. And that goes for my own family as well, as I want to make sure that they are prospering in the goals that they have. My last value is dependable. If I say I'm going to do something, you can count on me doing that. And so that is a very important thing that is a part of who I am. And I do that as well with my students, as well as if they say that they're going to do something, that they make sure that they follow up and that they do that as well. So, with that being said, overall, my all assessments are that I'm focused on creativity. I feel that that is a very important part of who I am, and I want to make sure that that is a very viable asset of who I am as a person, is how I am creatively. And then my family is very important to me, and that shows up in my assessments as well, as being focused on family and making sure that they are a part of who I am as well. And then my career is also important in making sure that what I do is important to all my students, whether it be the 26 or as a principal being surrounded by hundreds of students. So with that being said, I want to thank you. And this is it. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.